when we study the Seerah of our Prophet ﷺ and the advent of Islam among Sahaba, it seems as if Islam at that time was more simple in terms of studying and applying it. The preceding scholars, rahmatullah alayhim, provide us with such vast resources to studying the deen. Why does it seem that the practice of Islam of our Prophet's time was so much simpler than the exponentially deep resources we must use today and study Islamic practice? It's a really good question. For common people, you're students of knowledge. For common people, Islam should be very simple. For Aqidah, if you really understand ikhlas, that should be enough. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. That, our mutakallimun say that negates the 8 types of kufr. There's 8 types of kufr. The قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, it negates ta'addudiyya and inqisam, that God is more than one or that He's composite. That He has parts. And then Allahu Samad, that negates naqs and aib. It negates deficiency and defect. Lam yalid wa lam yulad, that negates illa and ma'luliyya. It negates cause and effect. God is not the cause of anything in a causative sense. He creates things, but there's not a cause and effect relationship. Because with cause and effect, they have to be related. Right? In other words, when you cause something to happen, there's a relationship between the thing affected and the cause. With Allah, there's no causal relationship. He's transcendent in that way. Like if I make that sound, I have to have, there's a causal relationship that connects me with the creation. Allah has no causal connection in that way. But He brought everything into existence. خَارِقُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. خَارِقُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So that negates illa and ma'luliyya. And then وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ, it negates shabih wa nadhir. It negates any likeness or opposite. And so those are the 8 points. If you understand those really well, that will suffice to get to Jannah. And obviously you have to know the prophets are all true, and so I'm simplifying things, but that is enough. The Prophet said, "Man qala la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah." If you say that, you'll get into paradise, believing there's nothing worthy of worship except the one true. La ma'budu bi haqqin siwa Allah. There's nothing worshipped in truth, because many things are worshipped other than Allah, but in truth, nothing is worshipped other than except Allah. In truth, bihaqqin, la ma'budu bihaqqin illallah. And then the akhlaq of the Prophet is not difficult. Be good to people, speak truthfully, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat. 10 commandments. Ta'alu atlu ma harrama rabbukum alaykum. Right? Qul ta'alu atlu ma harrama rabbukum alaykum. Come and let me tell you what your Prophet your Lord prohibited from you to do. Allah tushriku bihi shay'a. Right? Wa bil walidaini ihsana. ولا تقتلوا أولادكم من إملاق نحن نرزقكم وإياهم ولا تقربوا الزنا ولا تقربوا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق. Right? ذلك وصاكم به لعلكم تعقلون. That's the basic akhlaq of the Quran is the 10 commandments. Right? That's not difficult. That's easy. So that aspect. But if you want to know why it's complicated, because language is complicated. Because language bears a lot of meanings. Because when you get into religion is dangerous. And if you leave people just to read these things and think they can understand them without having the depth of knowledge to really understand it, then you have what's going on in the Muslim world right now, where every Tom, Dick, and Abdullah is running around chopping somebody's head off because they disagree with them. So this is a problem. One example, any hadith that is related, the Prophet speaks with different voices. Sometimes he speaks as a qadi. Sometimes he speaks as a mufti. Sometimes he speaks as a hakim. Sometimes he speaks as a nasih, giving advice. The mufti, the mujtahid has to differentiate. One example of that. The Prophet ﷺ, when Hind said, Abu Sufyan rajulun shahihun, right? He's withholding. He doesn't give me what I need. The Prophet said, "Khudi min malihi bil ma'ruf." Take from his wealth bil ma'ruf. Take from his wealth what's a custom of your socioeconomic status amongst the Quraysh. I mean, these are all implied. That's what he meant. Bil ma'ruf means a woman of your stature in Mecca, take what you need according to what women like you in this society, the urf. Abu Hanifa said that that's mutlaq, so a woman can take the wealth of her husband if he's not giving it to her, and she doesn't have to tell him. Imam Malik said no, he's acting as a qadi there. So Abu Hanifa was saying he's acting as a mufti. Imam Malik said no, he's acting as a qadi. So the woman has to go to the qadi to get that permission. Which one is right? Allahu a'lam. I'm Maliki, you're Hanafi, my wife can't take my money, your wife can. So, you know. I just hand her the money, she does it all. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. So that is why Islam is not an easy religion. Like all religions, the Quran has many, many meanings. Arabic is a very vast language. The Prophet spoke in Arabic. His words bear a lot of different meanings. And that's why you have to study, you have to master. If you're going to be a mujtahid, if you're just going to be a abid and practice Islam, it's very simple. And you can learn it very quickly. I guarantee you could learn your religion well as an adult in 3 or 4 months if you were serious. All you need to practice your religion, you could learn it in a couple of months. Really. Maybe even less if you really worked and learned quickly. So it is simple at that level. But if you want to give fatwa, if you want to have ijtihad, no. Even amongst the Sahaba, only a handful of them gave fatwa. They were brilliant men living with the Prophet. The fatwas were, Abu Hurairah, with all his knowledge, rarely gave fatwa. And Aisha faulted him in some of his opinions. She said he's wrong about that. The Prophet didn't mean that. Aisha is one of the most important sources because she was a genius. I mean, she was mulhama. Allah gave her gifts and she was the Prophet's wife and she's our mother, but she was brilliant. So, but you can see they differed. Sahaba differed. And to learn hadith is very difficult. To learn the maratib al-hadith, to learn the sahih, the hasan, and then the usul. Imam Malik has istihsan, he has musalih al-mursala, he has sadd al-dharaya. Imam Shafi'i doesn't have those. Abu Hanifa has istislah, but not to the level of Imam Malik. So they differ in their usul. The usul are different, and Islam bears all those meanings. And that's why you have to have a lot of knowledge. Arabic is hard. Most people don't know Arabic anymore. Arabs don't know Arabic anymore. I mean, they know Darija or Ammiya, but to study Arabic is very difficult. You know, I mean, if you ask Arab like La yanalu ahdi al-zalimin, you know, what does that mean? Why is it that way? What's zalimin? Because one would think it would say La yanalu ahdi al-zalimun, right? But that's not what it means. Zalimin there is maf'ulun bihi. The ahad is that's the fa'al. You know, the ahad is what naluhu. So, you know, and there are many, many examples like that in the Quran. So Arabic is, and then rhetoric. Majaz, look at the different majazat. There's people that make takfir of people because they don't understand rhetoric. You know, if you say the doctor healed me, that's not shirk. That's a type of majaz. It's called majaz mursal. It's permitted itlaq as-sabab ala al-musabbib. You can call the means the maker of the means. The Prophet is the shari' majazan. He's not shari' haqiqatan. He's not the lawgiver in reality, but we can call him the shari' because he's speaking on behalf of the lawgiver. The minister speaks on behalf of the king. You can say the minister ordered us to do this, but it's really the king that's ordering you because he represents the king. This is majazat. You know, kinaya is important. The Prophet ﷺ used kinaya in his language. He used words that meant different things. And sometimes they debate about those words, like whether it was kinaya or whether he meant something else. So our religion's vast. Qira'at are vast. Just learning tajweed, the qira'at of the 7 qira'at, that's like a lifetime. If you want to master tajweed, really master. I'm not talking about, alhamdulillah, our ulama said lahn khafi is ma'dhur, most of them, not all of them. But, so if you're not getting your idgham, but as long as you're not making grammatical mistakes and you're pronouncing with the huruf properly, but you don't know the mustahaq, because every letter has a haq and a mustahaq. To master that, there's people that spend several years until they really get it down to perfection. And amongst the Sahaba, there were those that were better than others. So just learning qira'at is not easy to master that. Allah yubarak fikum. It's late. Assalamu alaikum.